Okay. All right, there we go. Okay. I appreciate you guys all hopping on. I want to cover a few things that's just been on my mind lately. One of the biggest things on my mind is how do you I'm just gonna mute this. I'm gonna mute everybody on here until I need to talk to you. If I need to talk to you, just go ahead and unmute yourself. But I'm just muting everybody for right now. But one of the things I want to kind of talk about is, so as the way our system works, it's designed that obviously you got to put work in order to get your promotion. And then from there to get your next promotion, you have to be doing something to get promoted as well too. That means that you have to start helping your team get to their promotion. You can't just like sit back and watch and say, okay, hey, my team's growing. They're moving on to the next position. It's designed not to sit back and watch. It's actually to be engaged. And what I see a lot of times, and we all come into this for individual reasons, whether it's to learn more about our own finances, whether it's to come in and help people, or whether it's just to make money, we come in for individual reasons. Obviously, none of that is a bad thing. However, if you're only in it for yourself and you're only in it to do the minimum possible, you just don't become the best team player possible. And what I want to come across as is, when I first came into it, I didn't see myself running a team, training a team, running a conference call. And honestly, even to this day, I would be very happy just sitting in the background watching. However, right now, there's only very few people I could turn over my team to and let them run. And one of the things I want to give one of the persons I can count on is Jaron. I mean, I could turn over things to him, and I know it's going to get done. In fact, actually, almost everybody on Galen's team, whether it's Kathleen or Jaron or whether it's Troy, I don't have to do anything. They get it done. Fred's actually kind of the same way as well, too. Like Fred just gets things done, and I don't have to do it. But when people come in, they're a little more new, a little more experienced, I need to do a little more training myself. Sometimes I get frustrated at my team thinking, okay, hey, how come you're not doing this? But if I really self-reflect on it and look at it, I really can look back at it and say, okay, maybe they just didn't know. Most people really aren't lazy, although we have a little tendency in all of us to be a little lazy, but most of us just don't know what we're needing to do. And so what I want to do is I want to encourage you guys to be a little more self-motivated by yourself to get out there and try to figure out what you're doing. And if you're wondering, hey, should I be doing something more? Should I be going out and doing that? Then you kind of have an idea that you'll be able, you're kind of yes, you need to do more. If you have that thought that you need to do a little bit more, you do. And so I'm going to go through a slideshow on here for you guys that are on Zoom. I know we got a lot of people that are on the phone call, but I'll go ahead and record this so you can go back and look at it. But a lot of it's just verbal wise. But it's how to become an effective team player. And so the definition of a term of a team is a comprises a group of people linked in common with a common purpose. Teams are especially appropriate for conducting tasks. Teamwork is a cooperation of coordinating effort on the part of the group of a person acting together as a team or in the interest of a common cause. So we're going through March Madness right now, so we're starting to see a lot of teams. We're seeing number one teams being broken in their bracket. And it's funny how, like, usually one person doesn't decide whether the team's going to win or not. It's usually a collective as a whole. If you get one or two people that start breaking down, then it starts breaking down their system, and they're going to lose a game, even if they're not meant to lose to those type of people or that type of a team, right? And so what we got to figure out was, what is Primerica's common goal? Well, the one thing what we can all get back behind on is we're in it for the family, right? And so that's one of the first things that we want to be into. And I know we come in for other reasons. The one thing we all should be able to get back into is what we deal with is helping people get out of debt and save money. It's not a hard thing to get back behind, and you can get kind of excited about that. So as a team, that's probably one of the things that you should be starting to think about. The other thing is, as an individual, you can focus on money or you can focus on your team. Either one of them are going to make your money, but if you focus on your team, you're going to get a bigger payout on that. Okay, if you're just individually sitting in the background saying, hey, bring me in a paycheck, you're not going to receive a lot of respect, and you're not really going to get put out on the field very much. The reason I give a little recognition, like with Jaron and with Troy and them, because I can count on them. If I give them the ball, they're going to make some mistakes along the way, but I know that they're going to get it down the court. Okay, and I know if they do it consistently, they're going to get it into the hoop as well too. Okay, this is just a quote that says, if you were choosing team members for a business team in your organization, so think Primerica, who would be the best team players? Assuming that people have the right technical skills for your work to be done, what other qualities would you use to select your team members? And that's a very good point, because right now I just want you guys to know I have some good players, and I have Robert that's awesome, that's working with people. I have Chad that's just good with just getting in there and getting the appointment done. I got Matthew that he just gets me excited when I hear him talk and when he starts about talking about his goals and that. So you get different people with different aspects. The other thing that excites me about Matthew too is he's going to Tom Hopkins. So he really wants to learn this stuff. So he paid like $100 just to go down to learn how to talk to people about Primerica a little bit better. So when you start seeing that, we got the little different areas, but I can tell you right now, there's nobody on my team that has like enough to be able to go regional vice president. So you got to develop some of these qualities yourself. Obviously, if you're going to pick a team player, these are some of the top qualities that you'll see here. One of them, it says demonstrate reliability, right? So if we're looking at this right here, that's probably can I count on you? Okay, can the team count on you? So if it really comes down to it, the reliability, we all come in for different reasons, but that's one of the things that you need to ask yourself is, can the team count on yourself? Can you count on yourself? The other thing is, can you communicate constructively? Hey, you know, when the team's down or when somebody's hurting, right, it's easy to get down because that's where we're naturally at. But you need to learn how to communicate constructively. Hey, we can do this. We can get after this. Hey, you know, the reason why on the team that you're not succeeding right now is you haven't been on appointments, right? Sometimes you got to have a tough coach to do that. You can't just, I know like some players are really soft with their teammates. They're like, oh, okay, I understand. If you can't come to training, I understand that. That's okay. But you got to have a tough coach that's there. Somebody that you would love, I mean, all of us, if we have a new recruit come on, Trina Krieger is one of our newer recruits. And one of the things that he says, you know, I'm going to get licensed. And he went out within a week's time frame of getting started with this. He went out and got his license. And so having an active listener, somebody that can listen really good. When we call a play, are you going to go and do something else as an individual and run that play as a different person? So if you think about that as another person, kind of reflect that back onto yourself. I'm not going to go through all these. You can go through and look at these. Shows commitment. You guys are on this call right now. You guys are showing commitment, right? One of the things that I had an agent that I really appreciated, she's like, I want to know how, you know, when the trainings and how we can get it more consistent. And so in doing that, that's awesome. But we also need it on the self-respect. If they end up not coming to the training, I want to know that as well too. They think, you know, if you think it that way, it's got to work both ways, okay? Problem solvers. You know, I get a lot of people coming to me saying, hey, you know what, we should do it this way or this way. Or they'll come in and say, hey, you know, I don't think you should say this, or I don't think you should do this. But then they never give, okay, what should I do? What, you know, give me a way out of this, right? So if you come to me with any kind of problems, I want you to have a way to fix it if you have a problem with anything that we're talking about, okay? This is the same thing that goes with all of you guys in your guys' own lives. You can use this when you go to work as well too, right? It's a little harder. You wish almost everybody you worked with, like your boss or your manager, the people that are underneath you, they could all hear this call, right? Well, hopefully at least on our team will get better after listening to this, right? And so I'm going to go move on to the next one here. One of the things I really want to talk about, demonstrating reliability and being consistent. What are the things that you need to be consistent on? Well, we just recently have went through where we just went through a big month on a TV. We've had people that were sprinting. We had a lot of people that were doing that. Well, this month we started a new contest where we're running for the robot vacuum, the gift certificate for $25, the shirt, and then the mug, the Yeti mug. And so right now, for those people that are getting on appointments, you're getting points. For those people that are closing business, you're getting points. I know like Matthew closed the Life app and Troy closed the Life app. So they have 5 raffle tickets right now, each of them. Chad, I think he's about at 15 or 16 right now. So he's going after it right now. But there's a lot of other people. That's it. I don't know of anybody else that has any tickets. Yeah, Nick might have a ticket or two because he closed some business. But other than that, I'm not quite sure who's going after this. And so if you guys want to go after it, the key is at being consistent day in and day out. And so if you're looking at your schedule this week, Cruz right now, I know he has some appointments that are set up. But what you guys got to do is got to have those appointments set up beforehand. So like if you don't have any appointments right now, probably the first thing you should do Monday, get your schedule out, get your people out, make it during your lunch break, make it when you're off work, go home, spend 30 minutes and just make your phone calls. Once you get your phone calls set up, then it's a lot easier from there. So being consistent, that's probably one of the characteristics that made me so good. There's a lot of other people out there that are a lot better closemen, a lot better with their words, their usage, what they could do. But I can tell you right now, not very many people can outwork my consistency. Okay? And I'm not saying that I've worked the hardest. I mean, I'd probably say I've worked hard for the last couple of months, but not for a lot of years. I'm just very consistent at doing the most important things. I will get to work at the day, and I will look at what's most important, and I'll focus on those, and then if I have more time, I'll deal with the other stuff. But the most important things get done. And I'm making sure I do something every day. Even when I was on vacation, I'm making sure I'm sending out text messages and letting people know. I was even trying to help Trinity to go through because nobody was helping them. And so, unfortunately, I'm here away from home, away from my internet. And here I am trying to get everything done when I was hoping that somebody else would be able to help out on this. But luckily, me and Trinity, we got that taken care of, okay? I'm going to skip that one too. We kind of talked about that one already. We talked about that a little bit too. Good team players are active participants. Okay, they come prepared for team meetings. So when you come down to Saturday trainings, you guys should be ready to take some notes and then really try to take some of those things and use them in your week. So as I'm going through and talking about this, I want you guys to take this information down and I want you to practice, okay? You're not going to get good at Primerica unless you start practicing some of these things I talk about. Now, I know you might be scared to call and set up an appointment. Cruz was. I know he's on the call right now. He was scared to go set appointments, so we sat down with him. We role-played with him. And the first time we didn't role-play with him, he tried calling up. He didn't get any appointments. But we found out what he was doing wrong. He was talking too much. So we get a simplified version of what he needs to be saying, and he calls up mom and dad, and he calls up a relative, and he gets 2 appointments set up just right there on the spot. And he's like, and it's the funnest thing to watch, right? So you got to be active, okay? Don't sit around passively. That's probably the number one killer in Primerica. Even if you're only setting up 1 appointment a month, okay, at least do that. Just be somewhat active. Just go out there and do it. I know, like, we have one person that she's pregnant right now, so it's a little bit harder. But that's the challenge I would give them, is just to get out there and to be focused on just getting 1 appointment a month, okay? Shares openly. Guys, we need to be open. I love hearing feedback, by the way. Okay, I know not a lot of leaders like that. I like hearing what I could do to do better. I like hearing what I could do, what I'm doing wrong. And then I can correct you if you need a little correction there as well too. But just understand, when we're talking about willingness, I want to know the next steps of where we can take our team, okay? So I will be just as open with you guys, and I hope you guys will just be as open with me on that as well too, okay? Somebody that's working with others and acting together to accomplish a job. Okay, so the job of Primerica is to help people get out of debt, help them get life insurance, and help them to save for retirement, okay? So everybody should be on board with that. Okay, this is an interesting thing, because if you're not securities licensed and you're going out on appointments and you're just trying to get a life insurance sell or an auto sell, or just try to make a sell. But there is a possibility of doing investments, but you're not referring them out to somebody else. That's part of the team. You should be referring that out to other people. So in the back of your mind, it's okay. You can focus on the life insurance, but when you go into it, maybe all you're going to ever get with one person is the investments. It's better to have a client. By the way, if they have investments, they're eventually going to be doing life insurance with us. About, I don't know what high, Jaren was telling me, it's like almost 80% of people that keep their life insurance policies with Primerica have investments. Okay. So not only that, but your investments on the monthly amount, you're going to get that later. You might not get it right now until you're licensed, but once you're licensed, you're going to be able to get that. Okay, so sometimes we got to just be thinking beyond our individuality side of things. Learning how to adapt, being flexible. Hey, not everything's going to work out the way we want. We're going to set up appointments, and people are going to cancel. People are going to reschedule. People are not going to be nice. Overall, they are, but it's going to happen. You just need to be prepared. You need to be tough. You need to come into this saying, hey, look, I'm coming in this for extra income. I'm coming into this having fun. Hey, and I'm coming in to help other people. Okay. When you focus on those things instead of focusing on the individual appointment, when you focus on the individual appointment, if something goes wrong on that appointment, it could change everything. And then all of a sudden, some people create drama in their life because they focus on the wrong things. That's one of the things I like about Matthew when I go out on appointments. He had an appointment, we closed the Life app, and then the person changed their mind at the last minute. It kind of sucked. Sucked for all of us, right? We would have never wrote the policy if we knew that. But that's what happened. And you know what Matthew says is he's like, you know what? I am glad I got a chance to see Kelly, how he closed, how he talked. I also got a chance to see how fast we got paid out. So even though that payment is going to have to go back because we're not going to make the commissions on it, right? But he's focusing on the right things, okay? You just got to learn to adapt. You got to learn to be positive. That's not going to come naturally, okay? So hopefully you guys as trainers, when you go out and start talking to other people, you're going to be to the point where you're going to be able to help people be positive, okay? Because it's not going to come naturally. And so when you're around your team, when you're there, if something negative comes up or if somebody brings up negative, in a polite way, try to curve that conversation to something more positive. Change it to something that can help them reach their goals more, okay? It's easy to get caught up in the moment of complaining or being stressed, but being consistent in this and learning how to adapt with things is going to help you with Primerica on this. Being committed. Strong team players care about their work, okay? One of the things that I read a book called From Driven by Larry H. Miller. If you guys have not read that book, I'd recommend it. One of the things in that book is he got to the point where he was working at the parts store, and he just knew the parts by memory. He was so good at it. But all of a sudden, the boss said something mean to him, and it ticked him off, basically making him feel like he was not getting paid what he was worth. And so he was going back, talking to his uncle, and when he was talking to his uncle said to his uncle, he's like, you know what, if he's going to treat me like this, if he's going to pay me like this, I'm not going to put the time or effort into this. And his uncle, being wise as he was, he said, look, you know what, the only person that's going to end up hurting is yourself. You know what, if you're going to go to work, you don't give half, you give all. And even though you don't want to, you know what, you still give it. And you know what, he said he took that mentality and he's used that through his whole entire life. No matter whatever happened in that circumstances, he still went out and gave his effort. And obviously you look and see where Larry H. Miller ended up going and being. And so one of the things that you need to do is you need to care about your work. Okay. Obviously, if I give you some priorities, I'm with you on this. God should come first. Family should come probably in the top there as well too. Your personal job where you're working at right now, you should care about it right now too. Now, obviously, I know like Chad, he's ready to get out of whatever he's willing to do to come full time with us. But you know what? Wherever you're at right now, you're there until you can get Primerica going. But with that same respect that you give your job, right? You might not like it, but give it your best, okay? And when you're going to come into Primerica, you'll be already ready to give it for Primerica as well too, okay? So just make sure you give that as a commitment. We talked about working as a problem solver, so I'm not going to really go over that. Treat others with respect. This is sometimes the hardest thing. I had somebody that I was supposed to be meeting somewhere, and they told me, and took me 20 minutes to get there, right? And the second I get there, I get a message back saying, "Oh, hey, sorry, we changed our mind." I was so ticked off because it took me 20 minutes to get there, and then it takes me 20 minutes to get back. I was about ready to send so many text messages back, but you know what? It's the hardest thing not to send back a mean tweet or say a mean thing. But you know what? This is your team. They're going to do things that you're not going to like. However, you need to be courteous. They also need to be courteous as well, too. If they're not texting back, they're not replying, that's really rude, okay? So just so you guys know, like I sent out a few text messages. I got like 0 responses on a couple of them. There's a couple of people that responded back. But it goes both ways. You got to have respect on both sides of things. Have a sense of humor, That's one thing I do like about our office right now. Sometimes we got to be very careful about our sarcasm because that could drain things down. But we do have a fun office right now. I could joke with Chad. I can joke with Cruz. I could joke with Robert. We just got that type of a personality where we can come in, and that makes it fun for when other people come in. But in order for us to take our where we're at right now and go to the next level, we have to get some people starting to commit, okay? Where we're at right now as a team is nowhere where we're going to be at in 6 months, right? We had an awesome last 30 days. The last couple of weeks have not been so good. There's been one person right now that's been doing a lot, and I'll give credit right now to Chad Tilley. The other person that I can count on at all times of the day right now is Jaron. I can turn over our Saturday trainings to him, and I can just let him have at it, okay? So what we need to do is, if your name's not called on here, that means you got some improvements to do. By the way, there's a lot of other things that we can focus on as well. So if I have called your name, you either need to stay consistent or start adding to the team in more areas as well too, because there's other areas that even those people that I mentioned still need to get good at, okay? So I appreciate you guys for hopping on. Matthew, I'm going to unlock you really quick because I know you've been doing quite a bit. I think you're the 6063 number.
Yeah, what's up?
Okay. Just tell me a little bit what's been going through your mind and what's been going through your thoughts. If you have any thoughts or feelings as you're going through this, as well as the team that you're starting to develop right now.
No, I think you're right on, Kelly. You've got a really good handle on, when you're developing people, what you see and different things. Because every time I hop on, I'm always in some different state of where I'm at in my business. And it seems like you've been paying attention and you cover something that's, very important to me, like, being consistent last week. Took some time off to do some stuff, but there's no reason why I couldn't have made at least a couple of phone calls, set up some appointments and different things. So it just, helps reinforce me that I have a support system, and then that I want to be that support system for my team. So, if the one thing I can say is, if you're thinking about not showing up or getting on the call, that's where you're having a problem. So just get on the call, because there's going to be something that's going to help you.
Yeah, thank you, Matthew. I appreciate for your advice there. Robert, I noticed that you're on. Do you want to take a couple minutes and kind of talk about what's kind of going through your mind?
I'll talk, but it's going to be loud. There's a lot of kids in the background. That's kind of been our focus for the last couple of weeks. So just taking care of kids, providing them the things that they need. Because even though, like you're saying, priorities are God, family, and then work and Primerica at the same time, with family being number 2. And in our situation, we're dealing with kids that are having family situations. So we have to provide extra help to them, which takes up a lot of time. So that's kind of what we've been dealing with the last couple of weeks. Kind of disappointing to be called I guess not willing to do whatever it takes because of that, but it is what it is, I guess.
The funny thing about this call is that this is actually, I like what Matthew was talking about too, is because even though Robert thought I was talking about him, Matthew thought I was talking about him as well too. So, I mean, it's interesting that a call that you can kind of take it each way. But remember, one of the things I want to talk about is keep things positive, okay? Sometimes things don't work out the way it is. I don't want that transitioning down to the team side of things. The biggest thing that can kill a team is a negativity. And what we want to do is focus on what you can and can do. Don't focus on what you can't do. Okay? Just focus. I think a lot of times we look at our situation and we're like, I can't do this and I can't do that. I don't have the time to do it. You focus on that so much, you can't focus on the areas that you can do, right? So like I'm looking at like right now, like I know TC's not on the call right now. I know Chad's not on the call right now. And I'm like, what I can do, I mean, I could focus that they're not on the call, right? But I can focus on, hey, I can shoot them a text, just seeing what's going on with them, seeing if they can help out, seeing if I can get them focused on their next thing. So when you're doing that, just make sure you're always focusing on what you can do. I think that's a big, powerful part of being a part of the team. And obviously, we're going to have other priorities at different times as well, too. So, but make sure you focus on what you can do. I guess that's probably the biggest thing as we go over all this. The one thing I am going to have to relook and reevaluate is if I have to do everything, we're going to have to rechange some of the things. I'm looking at some of the things that we had a good 30 days, and it looked like the team was going. But then if we're going at it where only the top people are only doing all the work, we may have to start changing some of the promotions. I don't want to do that because I'm looking at it right now. I'm thinking it's good. But I look at it, I don't know. I think Robert does a good job with Sarah, so that kind of alleviates some of that. But everybody else on the team, I'm basically have my hands on everybody else. And so in a way, I'm focused on a lot of you guys. So I apologize. Like I've been getting some text messages that I know, like with Justin, I apologize I didn't get right back with you. Just reply back to me. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But if I miss something, also follow up with Sarah. Like Chad, Matthew, if you guys can follow up with Sarah, Justin, you as well too, follow up with them first if you need something, but then go to Robert and then go to me. That will help out so I can focus on some of these other people as well too, okay? So we kind of need to get that team side of things. And just so Matthew and Chad and Justin, Sarah is committed that she's not going to be on this call, and I'm okay with that. You guys just need to know that as well too. That's just part of the team side of things, but she should make up for it in other areas, like going out on appointments and helping out with you guys, also going to the Saturday trainings. That's where you should see her making up for it on that, okay? So anyways, I appreciate you guys for hopping on this call. You guys have a good night, and Cruz, thanks for hopping on. We appreciate you for being on the call tonight. All right, you guys have a good night.